Hey everyone, it's Michael with MTS4K here to do another video. This time we're going to be talking about all the new information that Apple dropped about the upcoming devices in the WWDC keynote the other day, specifically with a focus on my recommendations on whether they're actually worth the upgrade or not, especially if you have just the previous generation device or not. So let's get into it. So we'll go in order of the conference itself. First things first, Apple Watch. I personally don't think the Apple Watch is that much of an improvement. I think it adds some cool features. I think the processor is going to be a big deal, especially because the processors in the Apple Watch haven't really changed for the last several years. So this is kind of a big deal that they're upgrading the processor on the Apple Watch. But I got an Ultra, Series 1 Ultra the other day when my Apple Watch broke. And so I was watching this with a very focused mind on, I'm gonna get the new Ultra. Like if the new Ultra is good, I gotta get it. And I was watching and I was like, that's the same battery life that mine has. And then I was like, they added a feature with the new sensor or the new chip where you can go like this to like select things in your app. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I thought about it for like a half a second and I was like, that's cool, but I can also just tap on my watch and do the same thing. I don't really need that. And then the more I watched it with that mindset, I was kind of like, I don't really need this Ultra. My battery life is just as great on here. I got the cellular model. The body size is exactly the same. Like the only thing that's changing is the fact that the Ultra has the new chip. And that's pretty much it. I mean, literally, like they're still water resistant, still the same water resistance, still the same like heat and dust resistance and like cold resistance and everything else. I mean, it pretty much looked exactly the same. So that was something that I really was kind of bummed about. I was hoping there'd be more changes in the Ultra, but it's fine. I understand processor is always still a huge deal. So if you don't have an Ultra, the Ultra is always going to be my #1 recommendation. I think it's worth it. You get the cellular built in because all the Ultra models come with cellular. You get 36-hour battery life instead of like the normal 18-hour on the regular Apple Watch. Even the Series 9, I believe, is only an 18-hour battery life. So the Ultra is definitely worth it for several reasons, but the battery life, the built-in cellular, the more rugged design, the screen is actual sapphire. So I destroyed, like I would scratch up my screen left and right by accident on my old Series 6, but the Ultra uses an actual sapphire screen. So it's really difficult to scratch it. Like I've scraped my watch on concrete before and it looks pristine. I've never scratched this one and I've been using it for a couple months now. So the Ultra is just by far the best one. It's the one I'd recommend, but it also costs almost twice as much as a normal Apple Watch. If you tack on cellular to like a Series 9, then it costs a little bit less than double the Series 9, but it's still pretty expensive. So as for the Series 9, it's kind of the same deal. It's basically, it kind of looks like the exact same watch, but now it just got a better processor and like some new features like the ability to like tap your fingers together to select the main button on that app, like stop your timer, start your timer, stuff like that. But for me, it's not worth it. I'm gonna stick with my old, Series 1 Apple Watch Ultimate instead. So that's my recommendation. If you have an old Apple Watch, this is definitely gonna be a worthwhile upgrade for you. They said something about upgrading the sensors and stuff in there. They always say that. I feel like the old sensors were really good, so that it's not like it can have better heart sensing than it did before, in my opinion. But my recommendation, if you have a really old Apple Watch, try to get a Series 1 of the Apple Watch Ultra, the Apple Watch Ultra 1, whatever it's called. I think you'll be a lot happier with that. Well, otherwise, if you want to get the best and the best of the best and have a watch that's going to last you many, many years, get the Apple Watch Ultra 2. That's going to have the best battery life, the best processor, the best everything you can get right now. Cellular built in, super rugged, durable design, like 100-meter water resistance. It's crazy. So get that one. I'm not even that active. I don't go diving. I don't really do a ton of working out or anything super crazy. But just knowing that your watch is going to be incredibly durable and last you wherever and whatever you do is totally worth it to me, and then have double the battery life of the normal watch. So yeah, if you have an Apple Watch that's an older model or one of the, you don't have one at all, I would recommend the Ultra if you can spare the change. Otherwise, Series 9, Series 8, those are going to be worth it to you. I would get the one with the better processor. It's going to last you a number of extra years because they always add new features to take advantage of that processor that only that processor can use. So it's worth getting the newer one if you don't have it. But if you have a Series 7, Series 8, even Series 6, I would hold off till your watch breaks or until you get a really good trade-in deal to trade up to the Ultra or the Series 9. One other thing I forgot to mention is going to be that the Apple Watch Ultra and the iPhone models are going to be getting the new Ultra Wideband 2 chip. which is going to enable better connectivity for finding lost devices, specifically finding an iPhone with precision finding and finding people. So if you lose your iPhone in your house, instead of just pinging it, from the Apple Watch menu, you'll be able to actually go into Find My and click on your iPhone, and it'll be like, your iPhone is 32 meters this direction, and direct you exactly where you need to go, versus just pinging it and listening for the sound, somewhere around your house. It's also going to enable the ability to use better Find My for people. So like if you were at like Disney World or something, you're trying to find, your spouse, your friend, whatever, you can go into the Find My app, click on people and click on the person. And if you both have the new ultra wideband chip, it'll be able to sense where they are and tell you, yeah, they're 102 meters that direction, right? Like it'll be able to point you exactly where their device is, which currently is not something that it does as well. It's more just like, here they are in a map-ish, but this one will literally be like, they're that direction. It's much more precise finding. I don't think it's worth it to have that just for just upgrading. It's not worth it to upgrade just to get that. But if that's something that you're gonna utilize, it's gonna be nice to have that if you do upgrade. So just keep that in mind. I'm only going to do a small section on this because it wasn't really mentioned much in the keynote, and it's not a huge upgrade, but the Apple AirPods Pro are going to be getting the new USB-C port on them. It's literally the exact same thing. It's the same headphones, same chips in them, same case, same MagSafe charging. Everything is the same. The only difference is the port on the bottom is changing from Lightning to USB-C. And then to coincide with that, they're adding the ability where, so every iPhone 15 that's going to ship is going to ship with a USB-C to USB-C connector instead of USB-C to Lightning. So because both sides are USB-C, they're reversible. So you can plug either end into your iPhone, but you'll be able to plug the other end. Instead of plugging it into your power brick, you can plug it into your AirPods and charge your AirPods from your iPhone. Or you can take your Apple Watch charger and actually unplug it from the power brick, take it with you wherever, and then plug it into your iPhone, and you can charge your Apple Watch from your iPhone. That's kind of a cool feature. To me, personally, I don't think it's a game-changing feature, mainly because the way the batteries wear and tear on iPhone is based on charge cycles. So the more that you do that, the more charge cycles you're going to be using in your iPhone, and the faster your battery is going to degrade. So that's definitely not a recommendation to I'm going to charge my AirPods only from my iPhone now, because you're going to wreck your battery life if you do that. Long term, your battery utilization levels will significantly decrease how much you can actually use it, how long your battery cycles are going to go up. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's a cool feature to have, but I'm probably going to stick with my regular version of the AirPods 2 because Lightning is not completely phased out yet. And honestly, I charge my AirPods anyway using MagSafe. Because you can charge them on the Apple Watch charger or on a MagSafe charger. So I have a MagSafe charger right here, Apple Watch charger over there. I mean, there's plenty of chargers around where I can just slap my AirPods on there and they just magnetically stick to it and start charging, and I don't have to think about it. So USB-C is not a game changer on the AirPods for me, but if it is for you, it's gonna have them soon. So I got my AirPods Pro for $200 on Amazon. They're normally $250, and the new ones are gonna be $250 from Apple. So if you want to get them on sale, you could probably get a Series 1 version, or excuse me, Apple AirPods 2 with Lightning. You could probably get that version for a significantly cheaper on Amazon, Best Buy, as they start to phase those out over the next couple days. But otherwise, unless it's up to you, I wouldn't upgrade. I don't think it's worth it. All right, now we get into the iPhones. I was really excited to watch this keynote because I always get really excited about iPhone 15 Pro. What's the new one gonna have? What's the Pro and all that stuff gonna have? Is there gonna be an Ultra? I'm always super excited. This was kind of one of the lesser conferences for me. I was kind of oh, that's cool. The 15 got Dynamic Island. Dynamic Island, I will say, so I came from a 13 Pro, which had just the normal notch and no Dynamic Island, to the 14 Pro Max, which did have Dynamic Island. And it was really cool. There were some things I liked about it. It took some getting used to, where the face scanning little thing that pops up when it scans your face normally was in the center, and now it's up on the Dynamic Island. That took some getting used to, but it wasn't oh my gosh, I'm so glad I got Dynamic Island. Now the face scanning, thing shows at the top. But there's a ton of little tiny things that make Dynamic Island awesome. One of the first things is going to be maps and music and timers. So if you're using maps, when your maps are running, you're getting directions somewhere, it'll actually show a little bubble around the Dynamic Island that shows hey, your next turn's gonna be a left. Or it'll show in on the left side of the camera, hole, it'll show a left arrow, and on the right side of it, it'll show like 1.2 meters, and then it'll just like, or whatever it is, you know, like it'll 1.2 miles, it'll show you like right there at the top. So it's kind of cool, like you can see directions without it blocking like the whole top half of your screen with a notification, and when you just want to look, it's just right there. When you have a timer running, it'll show the little timer icon on the left, and on the right side of the camera, it'll just show how much time is left on the timer. Like there's tons of little things like that. If you're playing music, it'll show the song, like the album artwork for the song right there that's playing, and then you can like touch and hold on it and like skip the song or pause it, stuff like that. It's a really nice little thing. It's just kind of like it's an added quality, you know, upgrade, just something new features that are nice to have. It's not something you need, but I'm glad to see that coming to the 15 models. It's already on the 15 Pro too, so it's going to be on now every new iPhone that comes out except for like the SE, but the 15, the 15 Pro, they're both going to have dynamic islands, so kind of excited to see that. It's kind of a meh upgrade, you know, it's cool, but it's, you know, you could survive without it, but excited to see that. The action button. Very, very excited for the action button. And I didn't think I would be, but there was one thing that made me really excited about it, and that was the fact that you can now assign different actions to the action button. So for me, I never have my iPhone on like the ringer. The ringer's always silent. I do not want my phone to ring. It's loud, it's annoying, it's startling. I don't like it. I literally wear an Apple Watch that vibrates whenever I get a phone call or a text message or even a notification. I don't need my phone to make noise. I have, like, since I buy an iPhone, I turn the ringer off and I never touch it again. So I'm excited to see something that lets me take advantage of that button in ways that I'll actually use. So on the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, this is not coming to the regular 15, they're adding an action button that will basically, by default, if you touch and hold it, it'll switch between silent and ringer, so you can switch between those like normal if you don't want to customize your iPhone. If you do want to customize your iPhone, you can go in there and set like a bunch of different stuff to be controlled by that button. Like you want the camera app to open as soon as you click the action button, boom, like camera app's open, you're taking pictures. Like that's awesome. Or like for me, what I'm probably gonna use it for is shortcuts. You can map a shortcut to that button. So like when I wanna, you know, open the garage door, I can literally just map that button to there, and whenever I click the button and hold it in for a second, boom, the garage door is opening. Like I built some pretty complicated shortcuts because I really love Apple HomeKit and shortcuts and the app and everything about it. So I'm really excited to utilize that. It basically just added a new button and feature to my phone that's gonna unlock a ton of possibilities. So it's gonna be crazy. I mean, it could be everything from like, I click the button and it sets the house temperature down several degrees, or I click a button and it turns the humidifier on. Like I can do anything I want with my shortcuts, just shortcuts work with the HomeKit. So you can be like, whenever you're watching a movie or you want all the lights turned off, click a button, boom, all the lights in your house go out. Like it's gonna be really cool. So super excited for the action button. I think that's a huge thing that they've added. We'll see how many people actually take advantage of that, but for me, that is a huge deal. I'm very excited. Another thing they announced was the new chip in the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. They took a whole section of the video where they talked about how great it is. Like they're like, yeah, it's bringing like ray tracing to iPhone and it's gonna rival desktop grade graphic computing. And it's like, I don't think that, like, you know, like we've all seen the NVIDIA graphics cards and AMD graphics cards with like this big, huge brick of a device, right? Like your iPhone is like 100 times smaller than that. It's not gonna rival that. I don't know why they say that. I don't think that's actually the case, but I have gamed on my iPhone before, and I've done like closed betas of different games, and I'm really excited. They talked about the new Assassin's Creed console game coming to iPhone. That's going to be huge. I was able to do a closed beta on that. That was really interesting to be able to experience that on iPhone. So there's a bunch of things coming. I think that chip is going to be really good, and I think gaming is going to get even better on the iPhone. I don't think it's going to be quite as great as they say it is. Like for me, whenever Apple announces a new chip, it's kind of like, woohoo, a new chip, it's the same as last year's chip, but 10% better. That's how I usually feel about it. This one, I still feel the same way about it, but I'm excited to see some of the graphics things that they talked about and some of the gaming on iPhone get better. It seems, they did a whole section of the video where they specifically talked about how it's going to be improving gaming on iPhone. And in the last keynote, they also talked about some games that were coming to iPhone, and I think Hideo Kojima came on and he talked about some things too. So there's going to be some games of his that he wants to release on iPhone, I think, or something like that. So it's going to be an interesting deal. I hope the chip is better than I'm expecting, but generally Apple's chip improvements year over year are kind of like whatever. They're like, okay, if you upgrade, it's a great thing to have, but if you have last year's model, you're going to be just fine. I feel like this is kind of the case on this one, but we'll have to wait and see till I get my hands on one and find out for sure. Another thing they mentioned was the new super long extra zoom on the 15 Pro Max. Very excited to try that out. So 2 years ago when the iPhone came out, when the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max came out, they added a thing to the Pro Max that it had it didn't have an extra lens, it had a better distance on one of the lenses. They were like, yeah, there's more space in the iPhone 13 Pro Max, so they added a thing where its camera was slightly better. One of the cameras was slightly better than the 13 Pro. I think both Pro models should always get the same treatment. Just because one's slightly bigger, in my opinion, it's disappointing to see it get more stuff than the smaller one, because especially like I like the bigger one now, the bigger phones, because I use a pop socket, but I know some people don't like the bigger phones, so it's, I like both of the phones getting the same exact feature set. But either way, 15 Pro Max getting a new super long extra zoom on there. I'm kind of excited to see that work out, because I think Apple's zoom has not been the best compared to some other phones out there. I recently did a video on the Fold 5, and that thing was crazy. Like the 30x, the quality at 30x was insane, because it would be super blurry when you're taking the picture and then you snap the picture, and the machine learning, whatever they do to it, and like when you look at it in the end, you're like, oh my gosh, it looks like it was right in front of my face. Like, it's so clear and awesome. So hopefully this brings some new improvements to zoom shots on the iPhone, but we'll see. It's only coming to the 15 Pro Max, so if I get one of those, I will let you guys know how it is. The iPhone 15, and I believe the 15, I know the 15 Pro Max and the 15 Pro, but I don't know about iPhone 15. They're going to be getting the new ultra wideband chip. This is more of a will be nice to have in the future thing than like a yeehaw, I'm so excited I have it right now thing. Mainly because it only works with devices that also have this. So for example, if you and a friend both have an iPhone 15 Pro or whatever, and you're out at Disney World, you'll be able to go into the Find My app and click on that person, and it'll literally like reach out and be like, okay, based on their phone and the triangulations of these two phones, they're 106 meters this direction. It'll be able to literally point you to where they are, just like finding your keys and stuff using an AirTag on your iPhone. But it also increases the distance that the ultra wideband can sense, so you're gonna get a better distance for like, now your keys are 60 meters that way instead of 30, something like that. I don't think they specified exactly how far the distance is, but they did say that the distance is going to increase with the new ultra wideband version 2. So I'm excited to see that coming to iPhone, but definitely don't upgrade just to have that. You'll be kind of disappointed, because it's going to be exactly the same experience, just further distance, and like easier to find some people that also have the brand new device like you. So keep that in mind. One other thing that I thought was kind of cool from the keynote, they had a little thing on this, but roadside assistance via satellite. So a couple years ago, I think it was in the 14 models, they added the ability to connect to satellite from your phone, where you're literally like, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you have no cellular, you can actually tap a button and it'll like help you connect to satellite, and you can be like, I need help, I'm injured, I need medical, police, whatever, and you can like answer the questions. They're adding a new thing to that now is not only going to be for emergency response and emergency assistance, it's also going to be for roadside assistance. So they showcased in the keynote, somebody like their car broke down, and there's like a bunch of options. If you have no cellular, you can go in and be like, I need assistance, flat tire, right? Or, car won't start, whatever it is, you pick the option, and it'll actually notify a car assistance company to come out, and they'll bring all the tools necessary to help you get your car back and, going, whatever you need to do. That was really cool. They partnered with AAA. They mentioned if you have AAA already, that I believe that this is going to be built into your membership with that, or you can pay for it separately with AAA. But they did also mention that roadside assistance is free for 2 years with the purchase of an iPhone 15 or iPhone 15 model. So it sounds like they're going to probably charge for that at some point. I'm not really going to test it, but it's cool to know that that's an option if you need it. My car's pretty reliable, so I haven't been too concerned about that, but maybe I'll want it for my wife or something in the future. We'll have to see. All right, lastly on this is the big thing that I think most people are really excited for, that is not as cool as everybody's hoping for, is USB-C coming to iPhone. Me personally, I'm excited to have USB-C on iPhone, but I don't need it. Like, I had enough lightning chargers, lightning charged my phone fast enough. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all my old lightning chargers if I upgrade, because I have so many of them. I have like some of the 2-meter ones for when I need to charge my phone in bed, or I have it like a charge, over there, but I sit over here on the couch. Like, it's an interesting thing. I'm excited to see support for USB-C. It'll just be weird because now like I have like a newer MacBook that uses MagSafe, so I don't have USB-C cables everywhere for my MacBook because it uses MagSafe, so I don't like have it everywhere. The only USB-C cables I have lying around now are for like my Steam Deck. So It'll be interesting to see kind of how that goes. I honestly believe it's just gonna be a different cable doing the exact same thing. There was only one thing that I was really excited for from that keynote that they put it was very small, they barely even mentioned it, and that was that you can now, with the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, you can shoot footage and have your iPhone store it directly to external storage. That is huge for me. I shoot all these videos on an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and what my process is, I shoot all the footage on my phone, and because I don't want to buy like a several $1,000 camera when I don't need to right now. But I shoot all the footage on my phone, and then I wait for them to upload to iCloud, and then once they're in iCloud, I hop over onto my Mac and download them, and then I input them into Final Cut Pro. But it's a process that takes a really long time, right? Like I usually shoot my footage, and then I have to wait a couple hours for all the videos to upload because they're shot in 4K at 60. It takes a while. It's a huge file. So being able to store these directly to my SSD is going to be awesome. I'm super excited for that. Literally, you just plug in your USB-C, SSD and hit record, and it'll record it directly to that external storage. That sounds amazing. I'm super excited for that. There were a couple other things that they mentioned a little bit on, and like one of the things I'm really excited for is going to be able to plug my iPhone into an adapter and display it on the TV. Because right now, if you want to like connect your iPhone to a TV or something, right, you have to use a Lightning to HDMI adapter or Lightning to DisplayPort adapter, but those, you don't really have those, like unless you specifically go out and buy one of those and then carry it with you everywhere you go, you don't usually have one of those. But for my Mac, it's dongle land, right? I've had like a bunch of different dongles I've had to use for my Mac since the beginning of me using Macs, because they've had USB-C ports and nothing else. So I have one of the Apple like dongle attachments that you can get that's USB-C on one side, and the other side has USB and HDMI and USB-C to charge. So theoretically speaking, I should be able to, with the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, be able to plug that into my iPhone, plug a charger into the USB-C port to charge my iPhone, and then also plug in and a USB if I want into the USB port, and then actually plug an HDMI cable into that and have my iPhone screen streamed through the cable to my TV. Like, very excited for that. That'll be really interesting. My kids, just the other day, I set up a little projector in the basement, and I plugged my kid's iPad in there, and he was watching a movie on the wall with the projector from the iPad, because it just works. Like on iPad, you can do the same thing. Plug the dongle in there, plug HDMI into that, and boom, your iPad's being displayed on the wall. Hopefully iPhone gets the same treatment. That would be really cool for devices where you can't AirPlay to, like projectors. There's some new authentication stuff for like making sure that digital movies don't get cloned or copied or whatever, and they don't let you AirPlay to projectors anymore, or at least not the cheaper projectors that I try to use. So it'll be nice to have features like that where you can just literally plug your iPhone in and boom, now it's being projected on the wall, it's being shown on the TV, whatever. So USB-C, it'll be an interesting experience. I'm not like crazy excited for USB-C. I'm honestly more excited for the upgraded camera lenses and the better low light and everything coming with those, but we'll have to see once I get my hands on it. So either way though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys like this video. If you did like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm trying to help grow my channel, get more content out for you guys. I'd love to be able to do a video for you guys on my exact thoughts on the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the 15 Pro. But I gotta be able to afford one first. So we'll kind of see how that goes. But yeah, if you guys are interested in seeing a video on that, please like and subscribe and comment. Let me know below if that's something you guys want to see from me. And I'll keep making these videos. Hopefully you guys keep watching them. Thank you so much, guys. See you around.